Good evening and welcome to TV47 Prime. It is my sincere hope that you're doing okay. My name is Peter Kamau. Our sign interpreter is Rhoda Nyamai. Now, we start in Emuro Dikir, which is set for a by-election tomorrow. And all is set for the mini-poll after the death of MP Johanna Ngeno. We will be live from that constituency. Sidney Chazima, our reporter, is on standby there for us. We will be joining him in just a moment. Sidney Chazima, good evening.
Well, good evening, Peter. Right here at the Emuro Dikir Technical Training Institute, which has been designated as the constituency tallying center for this upcoming by-election in Emuro Dikir constituency. Remember, this constituency is in Narok County, and it is part of the larger Transmara. As you can see from history back then. And I can tell you that, as you've said, Peter, rightly so, that this by-election has been occasioned by the death of the former MP, Johanna Ngeno, who perished in an air crash, is a chopper crash right in February this year. And thereby the IEBC had to come up with this date, and therefore there have been campaigns running in this constituency. Remember, we have about 45,000 registered voters in this constituency going by the tally by the IEBC. And we have about 94 polling stations spread across 4 wards that are in this constituency. And what we've been getting from the ground is that there are 2 front runners in this by-election coming from the 2 parties, which is UDA and DCP. We have Vincent Kiprop for DCP and David Keter, who is gunning for this seat on a UDA ticket. Now, the mood on the ground has been swaying such as I can say that we've seen the widow to the late Johanna Ngeno gunning and drumming support for the UDA candidate, and even going as far as whipping their emotions and saying that she only learnt about her husband's death through a rally that was communicated by Rigathi Gachagua. And on the other side of DCP, we've seen the candidate, Vincent Kiprop, holding rallies, and interestingly so, we've seen women putting on what we call Uhuru bags on their head, which are denoted in the colors of DCP. Some have even gone far ahead to say that even if the candidate does not have the money to purchase the party merchandise, they are going as far as putting those bags on their heads to show their support. So it's quite an interesting race, and it is forming part of the national discourse in that this is an area that is considered a political bastion for President William Ruto. And the DCP party will be looking to make inroads into this area. And it is largely occupied by the Kipsigis. And the former MP, Johanna Ngeno, who was served for 3 consecutive terms, was being touted as the head of this community. And we've seen DCP party leader Rigathi Gachagua coming out to say that he was a close friend to Johanna Ngeno, somewhat indicating that they were close and they were close to a working relationship. So it is quite an interesting race, and we are here. The weather is a bit cold and wet. We've had some challenges here and there, getting stuck on the road, but we're here ready to give you updates from tomorrow morning when the polls will be opening. And what I can also say that we've seen a lot of, if my camera person Marion can just pan on my left, you'll be seeing some police vehicles that are ready here just to keep the peace and maintain law and order for the exercise that is coming up tomorrow in this hotly contested constituency of Emuro Dikir. Right there you can see the vehicles that will be used to ferry the police around the various polling stations spread across the 4 wards of this constituency. Now, Peter, that is what I can report to you as at now, and we shall be keeping tabs of what will be going on here. And when the polls open at 6 p.m., I believe we shall be there with the morning crew, just to give you an update on how the voting will be going on. We shall be expecting to see the widow of Johanna Ngeno voting. We've been told she's voting around this area. We're also expecting the DCP candidate, Vincent Kiprop, who will be voting on this area. And 2 hours from now, we shall be heading to 2 hours from here, if I might say, we shall be heading to the polling station where the UDA candidate will be voting from. They say there's a land so far away, and it is not Addis Ababa, it is Emuro Dikir, but we have come here and we are ready to give you an update tomorrow. Back to you in studio.
That is Sydney Chazima from a land that is very far away. And of course, TV47 is keeping tabs on that by-election tomorrow from Emuru Dikir. So please be sure to tune in for all the details live on TV47. Now, moving on. The Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission has finalized preparations for the May 14th by-election in Emuru Dikir, Poro and Edo wards, that is tomorrow. Stations open at 6 a.m. featuring biometric identification via KIMS kit. Officials warn that photographing marked ballots is a crime. Results will be posted publicly at stations and uploaded to the official online portal. And of course, we are continuing to remind you that that by-election will be broadcast right here on TV47 Live. So stay tuned for all the details tomorrow. Now, in other news, former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua's personal doctor, Dr. Daniel Gikonyo, has dismissed claim that Gachagua hid at Karen Hospital on the day of his admission at Karen Hospital to avoid appearing before senators for grilling ahead of his impeachment. Dr. Gikonyo, who testified in court on Wednesday, 1.5 years after Gachagua's hospitalization, defended the hospital records detailing Gachagua's admission and treatment after state lawyers raised discrepancies in order to puncture his affidavit in court. Apollo Kamau now reports.
1.5 years after his hospitalization in Karen Hospital, former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, flanked by his allies, was back in court with his doctor, Dr. Dan Gikonyo of Karen Hospital, taking the dock as a key witness for cross-examination.
Dr. Dan Gikonyo.
In a session marked by battle of wits and light moments, and at times heated, Dr. Gikonyo dismissed state lawyers' claims that Gachagua hid at Karen Hospital to avoid grilling by senators ahead of his impeachment.
Is it not because this gentleman was in your hospital to hide away from the Senate? He was not sick. I put it to you.
Let me laugh a little bit first.
Trust me, I too have been laughing about it.
Your Honor, I must apologize. I must apologize. I must apologize, Your Honor, for that. I must apologize, Your Honor. But honestly, sir, if the question arises as to those documents that have been raised, if they are available, and if you are looking for justice and honesty, you can ask me to provide them.
Dr. Gikonyo taken to task over his affidavit, defending Karen Hospital records on the material date from when Gachagua arrived at the hospital facility at around 3 p.m. to his admission and eventual discharge as the state sought to dismantle his evidence.
Is there or is there no discrepancy?
None whatsoever, sir.
Are you saying 4:18 p.m. is the same time as 3 p.m.?
There are different times for different...
There are different times. Therefore, you agree with me, sir.
Lord, could the witness be given the opportunity to complete answers to his questions without being cut short?
With eyes on the court on how it rules on Dr. Gikonyo's evidence regarding the hospitalization of Gachagua, the doctor further told the court how President Ruto called him directly on the state of Gachagua's health.
And in this particular case, Your Honor, I must be honest enough to specify that I did receive a call from our president asking about the status of the patient and responded accordingly.
Apollo Kamau, TV47.
Thank you, Apollo Kamau, for that story. State House wants at least 20 billion shillings to fund operations across the state lodges. State House Comptroller Kato Olemitito says the 13 billion shillings allocated to the House on the Hill is insufficient. Elizabeth Motuku reports.
State House had requested Parliament to allocate the House on the Hill 20 billion shillings in the financial year 2026-2027 to fund its operations across the state lodges in the country. Appearing before the National Assembly Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security, State House Comptroller Kato Olemitito stated that Treasury allocated State House 13 billion shillings with a shortfall of 7 billion shillings.
With limited resource allocation and such a big shortfall of 7.2 billion, definitely we will be affected in our deliverables.
In the last financial year, State House was allocated 17 billion shillings, marking a shortfall of 4 billion shillings compared to proposed 13 billion shillings by the Exchequer in the coming financial year. The Comptroller further defended the costs incurred in renovating State House Nairobi, noting that the changes were required where the seat of power is premised.
Now, State House is now the house you feel proud as Kenyans when you receive presidents. Instead of looking at the positives, they look at the cost. How much did it cost to do it? To actually do, to transform the facelift.
Kato further revealed plans to renovate other state lodges every financial year. In the current financial year, he says the focus is on renovating the lodges in Mombasa and Eldoret. Plans are also underway to renovate and expand the lodges in Nakuru and Kisumu, as well as reacquiring a 100-acre piece of land that was initially grabbed to build a state lodge in Kakamega. Elizabeth Motuko, TV47, Nairobi.
We now shift focus to the 2026 financial bill. Now, Nairobi is among the first counties to review budget estimates, with residents presenting their views on the priorities they want included in public spending. Nairobi youth called for mental health to be prioritized in the upcoming budget, while pushing for an increase in funding for the Youth Enterprise Development Fund to boost employment and their businesses.
They arrived early Wednesday at the Deputy County Commissioner's office in Utawala, ready to scrutinize the budget estimates for the year 2026-2027.
Sawa. Alafu kuna kitu kingine mwesh.
At the forum, Nairobi youth turned out in large numbers and, using their preferred language, expressed their desire for the budget to increase funding allocated to mental health issues.
Approximately 1.9 million Kenyans living with depression. 1 in every 5 Kenyans will experience a mental illness during their lifetime.
The young people in Nairobi also put emphasis on the youth fund allocations, calling for an increase in the amount of money they receive.
Bado mambo ya youth fund neza request mtu ongezee cause families mingi huko zinatoka from families ziko down, na sasa tukianzisha groups inakuanga kila mtu anategemea hiyo pesa instead to invest.
Kwa sababu vijana wengi wataka kuanzisha biashara, tuko na shida sana kwa sababu kitu ya kwanza hatuna ofisi ya youth fund, kitu ya pili hatuna ofisa.
When it was the turn of experts to speak, police officers in Nairobi requested that the budget committee allocate funds to construct better houses for the service.
Tungeomba tujengewe hata si tukae mzuri kama wengine. Ofisi iwe mzuri na mambo mengine.
Kama sasa hapa mimi naenda paka Donholm, Soweto, hiyo ile yote ni yangu, lakini sina mobility.
Despite warnings from members of parliament present against politicizing the event, residents during their presentation still openly brought up politics related to the 2027 general elections, most notably the Nairobi gubernatorial race.
Mama wa huko tunaelekea kufunga barabara ya Kangundo Road. Kama hiyo soko haitarudishwa juu ya meza tupate haki yetu tufanye kazi, tunaifunga. Uende uambie isipatiwe pesa ingine kama isaidii mwananchi wa kawaida.
All 17 members of parliament serving in Nairobi County were scheduled to attend the public participation, but only 2 showed up, including Embakasi West MP Mark Mwenje and his Embakasi East counterpart Babu Owino.
Quite a number of the projects that have been mentioned are projects touching all over. You see, even if you put Eastern Bypass, it might be going through Embakasi East, but it is not really their road.
Tumepata opportunity ya kuongea na kupeana maoni yenyu kulingana na zile shida ambazo wana Embakasi, wana Starehe, wana constituencies wote hapa Nairobi wanapitia.
The budget summary reveals a government navigating a 1.1 trillion deficit. In the budget estimate, Kenya's gross expenditure is 4.82 billion Kenya shillings, which is 69.3 billion Kenya shillings above the February budget policy statement ceiling that was adjusted upward for salary shortfalls and development partner projects. With Nairobi having scrutinized the budget estimates, focus now shifts to the remaining counties tomorrow. But the big question is whether the voices heard here and those to be heard tomorrow will be reflected in the final budget. Odhoni Brenda for TV47 from Utawala, Nairobi County.
Still on matters finance bill. So, did you know you have until the 25th of this month to present your views on the proposed budget 2026-2027? But how are the numbers looking like? Tonight, let's help you go through some of the numbers in the 4.8 trillion shilling proposed budget. The total revenue stands at 3.6 trillion, meaning there will be a fiscal deficit of about 1.1 trillion, which is about 5.3% of the country's GDP. The consolidated fund services, which is debt service, stands at 1.5 trillion shillings, which is about 31.2% of the budget, while the GDP growth is projected at around 5.0%. Counties will get an equitable share of Kenya shillings 498.5 billion shillings. Now, let's look at the money, how it will be distributed. The executive will get over 2.8 trillion, which is about 58.5%, while Parliament and the judiciary will get 48.7 billion shillings and Kenya shillings 30.4 billion respectively. The education sector leads with Kenya shillings 600.3 billion, accounting for a 28.5% share. Now, let's further break down numbers in this sector. National security, roads, housing, environment, youth and women, health and agriculture will also be part of this budget. We further break down the numbers in the education sector, which, by the way, will get the lion's share. Teachers Service Commission will get 406.6 billion shillings, Higher Education Loans Board 56.7 billion shillings, Free Day Secondary Education 54.6 billion, Junior Secondary School capitation is 30.9 billion shillings. The government intends to convert over 20,000 intern teachers to more stable terms by spending 4.9 billion shillings from January 2027. Meanwhile, Basic Education Principal Secretary Julius Bitok has appealed to members of Parliament to allocate additional funding to bridge the 71.7 billion shillings deficit in the education sector. Speaking before the Departmental Committee on Education during the review of the 2026-2027 expenditure estimates, Bitok has warned that capitation textbooks, examination, supervision, school feeding programs, and grade 9 classroom construction remain underfunded. The ministry also plans to merge capitation for primary and junior schools beginning next financial year to improve efficiency in institutions sharing management structures. The government will additionally promote comprehensive schools integrating primary, junior, and senior levels, establish 8 regional special needs assessment centers, and pursue disciplinary action against principals withholding students' certificates.
We have one comprehensive school taking this money. That will be able to reduce the cost. So I agree with the proposal by the chairman that there will be no need of subdividing money going to primary and money going to junior school. The reason why this money was divided initially, when this government came to power, junior school was actually supposed to be JSS, Junior Secondary School. It was supposed to be a separate school. But after the Presidential Working Party did a lot of public participation, they decided to go by the concept of comprehensive school. And since then, we have not been able to consolidate. But I want to promise the committee that starting the next financial year, we would prefer to consolidate. That is why I agree with the proposal by the chairman. JS and primary is the same school. And I think the money that is given to primary is actually dealing with the entire comprehensive school model.
Kenyans across 15 counties present their views in different locations on the 2026-2027 budget. Here's how it went in many counties.
Capitation bado tungetaka iongezwe kwa sababu hata ile bursary allocation ya NCDF ikiongezwa, kuna mahitaji mengi sana ya wanafunzi hapa Nyandarua ambao pengine wakipata usaidizi zaidi wa pesa wataweza kujimudu na kusoma vile kulingana na ndoto zao.
Lakini wakati tulikaa kidogo, unasikia mtu mwingine anajiita ati Kimani Ichung'wa. Anasema hata mkikataa tulipitisha polepole. Tulipitisha polepole. Today, are you going to follow what we have done, we have said here?
Nataka kuhakikishia wananchi ile maoni yote wametoa, tutaiweka kwa report na tutaipeleka hapo mbunge, na niko na imani kwamba hiyo maoni yatawekwa uzito.
To give the national government 2.87 trillion shillings to run national government affairs. It's being proposed to give the counties 420 billion to share among themselves. It's being proposed to give Parliament 59 billion, that's Senate and National Assembly. It's being proposed to give Judiciary 29 billion shillings. That's what we brought to the Kenyans here to tell us what they think about that.
So many stalled projects because of this, because we don't consider sometimes what is it, or even a road that is going to nowhere, yet there's a road that is needed to go to the, let's say, the beach or the fishing area where they need the fish landing, where they need the road.
Mr. Chairman, the minister recently said there are no legal basis for the money to be given to the councillors. You are here as members of parliament. Please go and move it in parliament so that we have a legal backup and we get our money. We are also Kenyans, but we vote for it.
In other news, Kenya has officially launched a diplomatic campaign to front Supreme Court Njoki Ndung'u for election as a judge at the International Criminal Court. President William Ruto says the government will rally support across Africa and beyond ahead of the ICC elections expected later this year. But should Justice Njoki secure the seat, Kenya would be forced to fill a vacancy at the Supreme Court through a fresh judicial recruitment process. Here is Mike Kagwongo with those details.
Kenya has intensified its international lobbying campaign to secure the election of Supreme Court Judge Njoki Ndung'u to the International Criminal Court at The Hague. Speaking during the launch of her candidate at State House in Nairobi, President William Ruto described Njoki as a courageous, principled, and among Africa's most accomplished legal minds.
And she has, I thought I was persuaded that she was the right candidate. But after listening to her, I am even more persuaded that we have the right candidate.
The head of state says Kenya is seeking not only a seat at the ICC, but also a stronger African voice in shaping global justice and accountability.
But you see, we have a duty and a responsibility to the international community as well. Because just as we expect others to serve us in those positions in the international space, we should also participate.
Kenya has already secured backing from Botswana and Mauritius, with President William Ruto also campaigning for Njoki before several African and European leaders. During the Africa Forward Summit, Justice Njoki, who helped shape Kenya's constitutional jurisprudence and spearheaded the Sexual Offences Act, is viewed as a strong contender owing to her judicial experience and international legal profile. However, Kenya's bid could still face hurdles, including stiff competition from other African candidates, geopolitical voting interest, Kenya's past ICC tensions, and regional voting bloc dynamics.
So the ICC's jurisdiction kicks in.
The ICC judge elections are expected during the Assembly of States Parties session later this year, where member states of the Rome Statute will vote to fill vacant positions. Should she win the seat, Justice Njoki will exit Kenya's Supreme Court before the end of her term, creating a vacancy that will trigger a fresh recruitment process by the Judicial Service Commission to appoint another Supreme Court judge. Kenya previously served at the ICC through former Judge Joyce Aluoch, and Nairobi now hopes to reclaim influence at the Global Court through Njoki's candidature. Mike Kagwango, TV47, Nairobi.
President William Ruto's economic advisor, David Ndii, has dismissed remarks made by Tanzania's President Samia Suluhu, criticizing Ruto over the oil refinery project, describing them as mere jokes. And as Alvin Kithinji now reports, Ndii says the project was his idea, defending it.
President Ruto's economic advisor David Ndii has said that Tanzania's President Samia Suluhu did not intend to seriously criticize President Ruto, but rather made those remarks in a joking manner. These remarks by Suluhu have sparked wide debate about the economic negotiations and relations between Kenya and Tanzania.
She was speaking jocularly, and people took it too seriously. You cannot, but let me ask you, even if she had not been, if some private investors sit in London and they make an announcement that they want to do a major investment in East Africa, and they are looked at various countries and they think Kenya is the right place for that investment, do you say you didn't consult us?
Tanzania's Samia Suluhu criticized William Ruto during his visit to Tanzania for announcing plans to build an oil refinery in Tanga without prior consultation, saying she had not been informed about the project. Ruto defended himself, saying the refinery is a business opportunity, will support other industries, and is a regional project, not just for one country.
Refinery Bana is a big investment. Sikizeni. Your investment is in billions of dollars. Kama mimi ningekuwa na nafasi ningeipeleka kule Kenya. Lakini kwa sababu ya kuamini ujirani na bara letu la Afrika na jumuiya ya East Africa, sisi ni wamoja, nikasema ikijengwa Tanga ni kama vile imejengwa Kenya.
This comes at a time when a major debate is ongoing about the planned oil refinery in Tanga to be developed in partnership with Nigeria billionaire Aliko Dangote. Dangote has recently indicated interest in investing in East Africa region, now leaning toward investing in this refinery in Kenya.
We sat down between myself and my team and the President Ruto and President Museveni, and we agreed that Tanzania, because each of us did not want to propose that it's mine. This is how East African projects failed in the 70s, because everybody wanted to do their project. So we agreed, let's settle on the third country.
Suluhu's statement raised questions about consultation on regional projects, while Dangote's preference to build a refinery in the country has sparked future questions about the construction of the oil refinery.
Oh, thank you very much for that story. We'll now take a short break on TV47 Prime. We'll be back in a short while. Stay with us. We have more coming up.
Sundays at 8:30 p.m.
Good morning.
You have my rent?
Leo jioni kama tutakuwa tumelipa rent, nauza hii simu yako.
Hamna pesa. I need 3 G's to make my nails today.
Sasa hivi natuhusu aje?
Can I order now? Do you ship? Can I get blinking ones?
Mimi nilikuwa na trade. Nimewekelea kitele yangu. Kitele yangu na trade. Nikikunyuma.
Oh my God. You left me. Nitumie ni live.
Uko nje kuna wifi.
Why? Hi-fi?
Wait, so what do we call this dish again?
I have no idea. The cucumbers are there specifically for my beauty routine.
Tamulini kero umeka kwa beauty product.
Na ameenda.
Tunafaa tukuwe na logo yetu. Like, si ni brand already.
You won't entertain divas. No. I'm not dealing with a man child.
Amazing. Nishapenda hii energy.
Sundays at 8:30 p.m. on TV47. Saturday at 8:30 p.m.
My father used to tell me that a hotel is the home for travelers. I guess I forgot that. Recently, it's been more of a mirror of my own ambition. Ooh, yeah. We might fail. We will probably fail, but not for a lack of trying. So for the last time, and the first time, welcome to Connect In, the best experience in Eastern Central Africa and its environs.
Saturday at 8:30 p.m. on TV47. Wednesdays at 8:30 p.m.
This is a very serious place.
I see that.
Surely. Hey, Nyumba.
This is the place.
Just for a few days.
Rule number 2.
Kwani Google inajua maisha yangu wewe?
That's my seat. It's a chair. It was hers.
You're new here? Yes. You learned the rhythm.
This place is run by structure. Structure.
It is a system. Ni venye tu ni system haisikizi. And what happens if something you haven't chosen enters your day?
I remove it.
That's not always going to be.
Welcome back. You're watching TV47 Prime. Now, the Africa Forward Summit concluded on Tuesday night with a spectacular cultural concert at the Moore International Sports Center, bringing together African leaders, global innovators, and celebrated musicians from across the continent. The grand finale blended diplomacy with entertainment as top African artists took to the stage in a celebration of culture and creativity. Our reporter Michelle Mwangi now takes us inside the unforgettable night that turned Kasarani into Africa's biggest stage.
What began as a high-level discussion inside Nairobi's KICC ended in dazzling lights at the Kasarani Indoor Arena as the 4th edition of the Africa Forward Summit came to a grand close Tuesday night.
Diana alisemaje? Watatii lini? Ati watatii?
The late-night concert brought together heads of states, diplomats, and thousands of music lovers in a symbolic fusion of diplomacy and culture. President William Ruto and his French counterpart Emmanuel Macron officially kicked off the celebration moments after concluding the summit's final session.
First, thank President Ruto, my dear brother William, because he had to be crazy to accept this offer to co-chair and co-organize a summit like this one.
My good friend, Emmanuel Macron, our friend, welcome to this beautiful concert. Muko area?
President Ruto described the creative economy as one of Africa's strongest engines for job creation and youth empowerment, saying the continent's artists hold immense economic potential.
The creative economy, artists, are one of our biggest engine of job creation and of empowerment of our young people.
President Macron, on his part, praised Kenya for successfully co-hosting what he termed as a unique and inspiring summit that marked the beginning of a new era in Africa-France relations.
Nobody will forget, and Africa Forward is the beginning of a new era, no doubt.
The concert transformed Kasarani into a continental stage, featuring performances from celebrated African stars including Bien, Savara and Yemi Alade, among others. Beyond the music and fashion showcase, the summit delivered major commitments expected to benefit Kenya and the African continent. Leaders backed stronger cooperation on peace and security, support for African-led solutions to regional conflicts, and renewed calls for reforms at the United Nations Security Council to increase African representation. Michelle Mwangi, TV47, Nairobi.
The family of former Nairobi Hospital Director Job Odbwaka and friends today gathered for a memorial service of the fallen doctor as investigations into his death continues. This story was produced by Moluse Meshak.
1.5 years after his hospitalization in Karen Hospital, former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, flanked by his allies, was back in court with his doctor, Dr. Dan Gekonyo of Karen Hospital, taking the dog as a key witness for cross-examination.
We do apologize for that mix-up. And back to that story, the family of former Nairobi Hospital Director Dr. Job Odbwaka and friends today gathered for a memorial service of the fallen doctor as investigations into his death continues. This story was produced by Moluse Meshak.
A somber mood and grief mourning filled the memorial service of former Nairobi Hospital Director Dr. Job Odbwaka, who died as a result of cardiac arrest, according to the government pathologist's report. However, his family maintains that the circumstances surrounding his death remain unclear and that there are contradictions between the findings of the investigation and the post-mortem report.
Anyone who directly or indirectly bullied, oppressed, slandered, maligned, betrayed, insulted, threatened, locked up Dad, and the moment you did that, you touched God's servant. And judgment is upon you.
As a family, we have decided to take it in stride. We agree with what the doctor said with a preliminary report, because what you can see, what can be seen by the eyes, really nothing was of consequence apart from his previous heart surgery.
Relatives and friends who attended the service described him as a determined, hardworking, and a man with a sense of responsibility as the head of his family.
So I want to tell you, if you hear Dr. Job did not even have this, did not have that, did not live like this, he did not drive this, don't worry. He invested in people. He invested in human beings who are here.
During the memorial service, leaders who attended called for accountability and adherence to the Constitution. Leaders calling for accountability and respect for the rule of law, referencing the case that Dr. Odbwaka had been facing following his removal from the board of Nairobi Hospital.
How about we just return the country to the rule of law, that disputes between board members and institution can be resolved amicably under the law. We want to live in a country that is free. We want to live in a country that is fair, governed by the rule of law. If you lose in court, you have lost.
Dr. Odbwaka passed away on May 1st after allegedly collapsing. He was rushed to hospital but was pronounced dead upon arrival.
Anapita mahali anaona kitu mzuri ananiletea. Tukigombana kidogo ameshafika na perfume.
The family has nothing. He has not taken anybody to court. We are not suing. As we just know, our brother, our father passed on.
Dr. Job Masahwe Lukuru Odbwaka will be laid to rest at his rural home in Musanda Village, Mumias West, Kakamega County on Friday, May 15th.
The Pan-African Media Summit officially kicked off today in Nairobi, bringing together policymakers, regulators, journalists, technology platforms and civil society leaders to discuss the challenges facing media and information across Africa. Speakers at the summit highlighted the systems needed to safeguard the integrity of information across the continent. They emphasized that information is a vital pillar of democracy worldwide, warning that the erosion of information integrity is not confined to the borders of a single nation, and therefore requires international cooperation. They also cautioned against misinformation and stressed that the future of media in Africa must be built on pillars truth, innovation, and inclusivity.
Artificial intelligence, data analytics, multilingual platforms, and mobile journalism are opening new frontiers for the content production and distribution. AI adoption within journalism is accelerating, with newsrooms already using some of these tools for transcription, for example, translating languages, verification of facts, as I said, research, and audience engagement. If governed responsibly, these technologies can strengthen journalism, improve efficiency, expand local language content, and enhance access to credible information.
This time has come for us to tell it with authority, nuance, and pride that we have to talk about our own issues. And also, we should not only focus on negative issues. In spite of not hiding the challenges that we are facing, also we should not shy to talk the positive aspect of our own history, culture, and daily activity, including governance and democracy.
The Institution of Surveyors of Kenya has called on the TVET Authority and the Commission for University Education to streamline training curriculum and ensure learning institutions have adequate facilities before being licensed to offer survey-related courses. The body has raised concern over the rising number of what it terms as mushrooming TVETs offering substandard training. Speaking in Mombasa during the Kenya Geospatial and Real Estate Conference, officials from the institution warned that many surveying courses fall below the required professional standards, leaving graduates without the necessary market-ready skills. The institution has also called for increased resource allocation to regulatory boards to enhance oversight and enforcement in the sector. Meanwhile, Cape Media Chief Executive Officer Mwenda Njoka is expected to address the conference on Thursday as a keynote speaker, where he will speak on the role of the media in shaping Kenya's land and real estate sector.
To question the role of TVETA. What are they doing? Why would you mount or allow people to mount courses that are not being appropriately resourced? And the same thing also extends to the university. As you have heard in our remarks that we have indicated to the head of public service, there is need to change the Commission of University Education Act so that we can bring on board professional bodies and the regulatory bodies back to the fold in terms of accreditation of courses. There's no need of parents spending a lot of money educating their children on courses that at the end of the day they cannot be registered.
There's fraud involved. There might be a possibility that one of us was involved. What then is our role in making sure things are done right? So we therefore want to, particularly the young surveyors, the young professionals, we would like to provide them with tools and knowledge and opportunities so that they can thrive.
It's true, we have a lot of institutions coming up with all manner of training. I think we need to tighten on regulations on how to regulate this space, and we'll expect to get proposals for you, Chairman, President, and your team.
Now, here's a story that's likely to lift up your spirits. Now, in a bid to promote peace in Kerio Valley and in the most volatile areas of West Pokot, the Africa Inland Church AIC Bendera Choir has launched a gospel music album as part of its mission to spread peace and the word of God. Chichi Josephine tells us more.
As the country gears up for the 2027 general election, churches and religious organizations are taking up the mission of spreading peace and harmony ahead of the polls.
Manyimbo yetu sana ni kuhubiri injili yake Mwenyezi Mungu.
Niliona ya kwamba kuwa katika uongozi ya taifa ni mzuri pia kuwa katika nyumba ya Mungu.
In the most volatile areas of West Pokot, the Africa Inland Church AIC Bendera Choir has launched a gospel music album as part of its mission to spread peace and the word of God.
Tunahitaji sana amani, na kupitia nyimbo ambazo wamesitunga
wataweza kufikia mioyo ya watu wengi wakamini Yesu Kristo.
The choir, which is also celebrating 10 years of service, introduced its third and fourth albums carrying messages of reconciliation, peace and spiritual growth, while emphasizing the important role churches play in promoting peace and harmony in society.
Kuanzia nijiunge na kwaya hii, nimeona maisha yangu kweli imebadilika, na katika uimbaji kuna mambo mengi ambayo yameweza kuwa ya manufaa sana katika maisha yangu.
The church also supports wider peace building efforts by the government and other stakeholders to ensure that Kerio Valley remains peaceful and productive while helping to reduce conflict in the region. Chichi Josephine, TV47.
Let's shift our focus, I should say, to business. Now, Safaricom and M-Pesa Foundation have launched Capture the Good Photography and Videography Challenge aimed at empowering Kenyan content creators to tell transformative community stories through visual storytelling. The nationwide competition launched in Nairobi invites participants to document impactful projects in education, health, economic empowerment and environmental conservation from over 250 selected community initiatives across the country. The challenge, organized in partnership with the Photographers Association of Kenya, the Photojournalists Association of Kenya and Vivo, will run until August 14th, with winners receiving millions of shillings in cash prizes and other rewards.
So Capture the Good is a platform, it's a challenge where we want to tell the stories differently. We have always been at the forefront of storytelling about the work that we're doing, but the feedback we have received is that perhaps you're not doing a very good job, or you're not able to capture the impact because you're telling it from our perspective. So we're very excited because this time we are turning the tables. We are calling on the creative community. We are calling on content creators. We are calling on videographers. We are calling on photographers to come and actually go visit our projects, speak to the benefactors, speak to those who have enjoyed and benefited from those projects.
From the very beginning, working with communities became very much an integral part of the Safaricom way of doing things. And so it was very clear that education, health, economic empowerment, and the environment were big issues for our society.
The Kenya Deposit Insurance Corporation has launched a major two-day tree growing initiative in Kericho, aiming to plant 227,000 diverse seedlings. The ambitious exercise commenced in Kericho Forest with a successful planting of 220,000 trees to bolster national reforestation efforts. By targeting both Kericho and Sorget Forest, KDIC seeks to combat climate change, enhance local ecological resilience, and support Kenya's broader environmental conservation goals for a sustainable and greener future.
We've already visited a number of other areas, including Embu and Nakuru, the Mau complex, other areas. We have also been to Sorget, and we are now here in Kericho. And we truly want to collaborate and partner with the Community Forest Association, the Kenya Forest Services, to ensure that the bigger agenda for the country and globally is achieved by the year 2032 for Kenya.
Here we are doing what we call plantation establishment and livelihood improvement scheme, where the communities are brought on board to participate in cultivation of crops, and in long term they are able to get income.
As a community, I welcome all other partners to come and join us as we are going through this exercise, as we are targeting the 15 billion trees by the year 2032.
That's all we had for you for business news. Now let's get sporty. Kenya national under-17 women's team Junior Starlets has intensified preparations ahead of the second round FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup qualification clash against Uganda. The Junior Starlets booked their place in the next stage after a dominant 7-1 aggregate victory over Namibia, while Uganda progressed after eliminating Zimbabwe 6-1 on aggregate. Kenya is targeting a return to the global stage for the second time in 3 years after making history with their debut appearance at the 2024 FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup in the Dominican Republic. The first leg of the qualifier will be played in Uganda on May 22nd before Kenya hosts the returning leg 8 days later. The aggregate winner will advance to the third and final qualification round.
Sisi tuna promise Uganda away tarudi na 3 points. Hatoa let down. Pia home ndio kichinjio. Tuamalizie huku tukiongoja opponent next.
Qualifying to the World Cup will mean a lot to me because it will continue motivating me and the other girls to work extra hard in order to achieve our goals.
AFC Leopards secured a crucial 2-0 victory over Ulinzi Stars earlier today at Nyayo
at 8:30 p.m.
Good morning.
You have my rent?
Leo jioni kama tutakuwa tumelipa rent, nauza hizi yako.
Hamna pesa. I need 3 G's to make my nails today.
Sasa hivi natuhusu aje?
Can I order now? Do you ship? Can I get blinking ones?
Mimi nilikuwa na trade. Nimeekelea kitele yangu. Kitele yangu na trade. Nikikunyuma.
Oh my God. He left me. Nitumie ni line.
Uko nje kuna wifi. Why? Hi-fi? Wait, so what do we call this dish again?
I have no idea.
The cucumbers are there specifically for my beauty routine.
Tamulini kero umeka kwa beauty product.
Na ameenda.
Tunafaa tukuwe na logo yetu. Like, si ni brand already. We won't entertain divas.
No. I'm not dealing with a man child.
Amazing. Nishapenda hii energy.
Sundays at 8:30 p.m. on TV47. Saturday at 8:30 p.m.
My father used to tell me that our
otherwise lazima tujaribu wa level best because hatuna na wakati ya kumon, so ni up to wachezaji wangu tujaribu tusawi game haraka iwezekanavyo because tuko na finali zingine 3 za kucheza, tuhakikishe timu haishuki kwenye daraja ya chini.
European football powerhouses Manchester City are scheduled to lock horns with Crystal Palace tonight
at 8:30 p.m.
Good morning.
You have my rent?
Leo jioni kama tutakuwa tumelipa rent, nauza hizi yako. Hamna pesa.
I need 3 G's to make my nails today.
Sasa hivi natuhusu aje?
Can I order now? Do you ship? Can I get blinking ones?
Mimi nilikuwa na trade. Nimeekelea kitele yangu. Kitele yangu na trade. Nikikunyuma.
Oh my God. He left me. Nitumie ni line.
Uko nje kuna wifi. Why? Hi-fi? Wait, so what do we call this dish again?
I have no idea.
The cucumbers are there specifically for my beauty routine.
Tamulini kero umeka kwa beauty product.
Na ameenda.
Tunafaa tukuwe na logo yetu. Like, si ni brand already. We won't entertain divas.
No. I'm not dealing with a man child.
Amazing. Nishapenda hii energy.
Sundays at 8:30 p.m. on TV47. Saturday at 8:30 p.m.
My father used to tell me that our hotel is the home for travelers. I guess I forgot that. Recently, it's been more of a mirror of my own ambition. Booyah! We might fail. We will probably fail, but not for a lack of trying. So for the last time, and the first time, welcome to Connect In, the best experience in Eastern Central Africa and its environs.
Saturday at 8:30 p.m. on TV47. Wednesdays at 8:30 p.m.
This is a very serious place.
I see that.
Surely. Hey, nyumba.
This is the place.
Just for a few days.
Rule number 2.
Kwani Google inajua maisha yangu wewe?
That's my seat. It's a chair. It was hers.
You're new here?
Yes.
You learned the rhythm.
This place is run by structure. Structure.
It is a system. Ni venye tu ni system haisikizi.
And what happens if something you haven't chosen enters your day?
I remove it.
That's not always going to be possible here.
Then you are going to have a problem.
Noted.
What are you planning? To escape from a resort?
This is not a resort, my friend. This is a storage.
Wednesdays at 8:30 p.m. on TV47.
I just want to be in the zone.
Nairobi, where the hustle never sleeps and neither do the scammers.
And that brings us to the end of TV47 Prime. My name is Peter Kamau. Thank you so much for your company. Our sign language interpreter is Rhoda Nyamai. Have yourself a lovely night.